Welcome to Driven, the Unscripted Success podcast, with your hosts, Mike Menino and Nariman Hamden, bringing you insights and stories on achieving personal, professional, and financial success.
Hi, everybody. This is Michael Menino, and welcome to Driven Unscripted Success. Today on the podcast, we're interviewing professional and financially successful people who share their experience and tips with you, the audience, how they got to where they're at today. And zooming from the beautiful island of Inglewood, Florida, is Lisa Zimmer. She's an intuitive, which I guess I'm going to learn as much as you about intuitiveness today. So, Lisa, can you do me a favor and tell me what you do and what your business is? And this sounds pretty interesting.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you for having me on. My business is a little unconventional. I'm an intuitive. I call myself an intuitive coach because it takes on many different facets. I basically am dealing with people's unspoken concerns. So, everybody has a concern. Everybody has a worry or something they're contemplating, or maybe a decision that hasn't really manifested or come to the fruition yet, but they're wondering what's going to happen. How's this going to manifest? How's my life going to show up? That's where I come in. So they schedule an appointment with me and I look at the overall energy of their life. So I can read what's going on currently in their life. I can see projections. I can see alternative options and opportunities that are showing up. But the ultimate choice comes down to the individual. So nothing is set in stone because of free will. So because I can see intuitively, it doesn't mean that things are going to necessarily map out 100% of how I see it because of the individual I'm working with and because of their free will decisions and choices. Those do precurse the fate of our lives. So it's those choices in our decision making that we really want to make intuitively accurate for the best success for ourselves, right? And in this world, in our changing world today, with so many unpredictabilities, it's ever more important to be evolved and developed in our intuitive sense. Our intuitive sense is our sixth sense that every individual has. We just never were taught it in kindergarten with our other five.
We're never taught it ever.
Ever, right? And
do you think, here's a question for you. Like we do real estate investing and someone said in one of my interviews, investing is never taught in school. And I've talked to doctors and they don't understand investing. Nobody understands investing. It was never taught.
Right.
And intuitive is on the same lines, never taught. Do you think that's by accident? Or do you think it's on purpose?
Absolutely not. I know that when they created the structure for education,
right,
there were elite educated people in that structure who specifically omitted the development of our intuitive and investment acuity, simply because they wanted to keep the upper class, and the rest of us in our middle class development.
Or lower class. They're okay with either.
Or lower class. I don't even want to put that out there, Mike.
I understand wholeheartedly. I study martial arts, and there's something in there that is intuitive, and I can't wrap my brain around it. So you said you read people's energies. What do you? I'm scared to ask this question. What do you read from me?
Oh, so that's a good question because people do think that I'm like reading their minds 24/7. Okay. And if that was it, I'd be, strapped up with my, arms behind my back in a white straitjacket. Okay. So you have to learn to turn it on and turn it off or you would go absolutely mad. Now, I will say that intuition comes in spontaneously. So if there is a message that, your higher self is wanting to crack in there, it will come in even if you're not like wanting to know the information. So in reading energy, when I go into a session with a person, I go into a bit of my own silent prayer meditative state.
Right.
And I connect with the frequency of that person's energy. And so I just trust in spirit that that's what's coming through and I read as it shows up. I do not like to do a Zoom session specifically because I don't want to read the person. I don't want to read the person's facial structure. I want it to completely come in through spirit. I don't want to read the person's actions. So a lot of people will want a Zoom connection because they feel connected that way, and I understand that completely. But for my work to be authentic and for it to come in the way I prefer it, I don't like to have any cheat sheets,
Gotcha. Yeah, visual cues. Right.
Right,
Yeah, that makes perfect
absolutely.
sense. Well, that's awesome. That's super cool. I there's a lot of times, and this might be wrong. There's a lot of times when I'm talking to somebody, something comes into my mind, and I say it because I'm that kind of person. Uh,
Right.
People take a step back and go, "I really needed to hear that." And
Yes. Yes. And that is an intuitive awareness and voice. That's a message of wisdom coming through. Absolutely.
yeah, so I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't quantify it. I can't put it into terms. I can't explain
You
it. I
just
can't.
need to accept it, Mike. You just need
Right.
to accept it.
I'm in that. I'm starting to get that. So in your industry, there's probably not a lot of competition. What sets you apart for what you do that that most people have a hard time with? See, we're looking for what you do good for that most people don't.
Okay, so I've been doing it, like I said, since I'm 17. So we're looking at over 40 years.
Okay.
And I have watched it become much more of an accepted practice, probably more significantly over the last 5 years since COVID. Everyone and their brother is now doing readings. So the significance and the difference between someone who is actually like, um, there's a lot of levels to it. Okay. So you can get all kinds of different degrees of information from different people. And some are good, some aren't so good. It's just, it really depends upon the individual. You're going to have to connect individually to that person. I'm personally very good on reading people's energy with other people. I'm good at picking up on things that are showing up in their lives, whether it's business, whether it's certain, circumstances that are coming in. But I will tell you, not everything will show up. Like sometimes you're not supposed to know something. You're just not supposed to know it. And so it's not going to show up. You're supposed to react and respond within the moment. There's no forewarning that spirit wants to give you on that one. And that's come up too, but I'm very good at, sometimes I'm really good at real estate. I'm actually really good at picking, real estate or picking up on homes that people are looking for, wanting to buy. I can see them before they find them. I've found properties. I've found missing articles. I've found missing animals. I've found, I've actually, one of my cream of the crop is relationships. So I have picked up on really sacred relationships that are still together, like over 40 years later. Really good things. I like to
Nice.
look for the good things. It's the things that resonate with me: the happiness, the joy, the love, those good things. Of
Yeah.
course, negative things will show up, but I don't look for them. If they show up, I look at that as a warning, and my deliverance is always, you know, extremely compassionate and diplomatic, because I don't think anybody wants to be hit between the eyes on anything. And so it's very important to read the person on how deliverance is. Not everybody does that in a reading. You have to know how to deliver the message to the individual, because it's not a blanket delivery. Not everybody receives information the same way. So you have to
Agreed.
understand how the person can receive that information where it's not going to jar them, freak them out, make them, question themselves. You want to deliver it in a way that's an empowerment, that's something that moves them forward.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm a little brass when it comes to delivery, and I need to learn a little bit more uh,
It's a learning
gentle
curve for
terms.
all of us.
Well, that one's the biggest learning curve for me. Like sometimes I say stuff and they take a step back, and then I needed to hear that. But I'd like to deliver it better. And so, what's one of the key? What's the tricks to delivering better?
Well, honestly, it's the pause. It's all in the pause of reading the person, because, a person's when you have a person in front of you, or if you have a person on the phone, you'll understand that pause. You can read that pause, if that pause is a frustration, if that pause is a thinking thought, if that pause is that they're not agreeing with you. There's an energy attached to it. And usually our first instinct in reading that energy is correct. So it's not so much of having to dive in to dissect that energy. It's like, bam, that first energy. Whoa, okay, maybe I could word that differently. Okay, I didn't really mean to hit you like that. I didn't mean to come across that way. Let me rephrase that. And so you come back and you deliver it in a way where it's more digestible.
I've noticed women are way better at that than men. I hate to generalize, but I'm the bull in a china shop, and my wife's right behind me, smoothing everything over.
Right. And honestly, I do believe that comes with societal teachings within genders, because men are risk takers, right? Men have been encouraged to be risk takers, and with being a risk taker, you're much more assertive, both in conversation and getting things done. Women are the feelers, women feel and
Agreed.
sense the situation, and they want everything nice and smooth and calm. So
yeah, that's so I kind of envy that in women, because I just don't have it. I'm the head down forward rhino going into any project, but it's really nice when you have someone behind you just helping you out too, behind you, saying, hey, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this.
Absolutely. And especially when it's a partner, because they have back.
Absolutely.
I mean, that just lean into your wife a little bit more. She'll teach you.
She does. She does a great job. She really does. I mean, she says, you shouldn't have said that. I'm like, why? And then she explains it to me. I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Women,
so
we do have an intuitive sense.
they do, and I wish people. Actually, one of my coaches in multifamily, we do multifamily investing, and he on stage tells everybody, women are, when you look at a deal, for multifamily, he goes, go out with the partners, go to dinner, and then bring your wife, because they, like you're saying, can read the other person. And there's times that his wife said, don't do business with this guy, and he did, and he regrets it.
Yes. I can
You
tell
understand what I'm saying, right?
Absolutely. I've been in that situation so many times. Yes.
Don't listen to the spirit, which is probably a horrible idea, right?
Right. But when they do listen, it's amazing how things manifest in a different way that you could never have imagined. You're like, you said, a bull in a china shop. Sometimes that headstrong perception doesn't see the other options and the alternatives,
Right. Yeah. You see, so there's two kinds of, we talk about two different kinds of people handling problems. Is the rhino, and then the ostrich sticks their head in the sand.
Yes.
But with the rhino, the one thing people don't understand about rhinos, they have poor vision.
Oh,
so they're running into trouble and don't even know it.
Good
they
analogy.
have very poor vision, right? And you nailed it. So I wanted to put this out there, that when you're head down and you're running this way, you're looking at the ground. No matter what, humans have poor vision and looking at the ground. Rhinos are even worse.
Okay.
But sticking your head in the sand is probably equally detrimental too.
Oh yeah, and that's so common, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And I like people that have their head up and look around and walk and maybe jog into a certain direction.
Absolutely.
So, what is the biggest challenge you've had to overcome in your industry and your business? I mean, what I've noticed lately is there's a lot more seatbelt psychics and psychics out there that are really good.
Right.
You probably have to deal with people that have been hit by people that aren't that good.
Exactly. There's all kinds out there. And
right.
it is really important to use discernment, because there are very good ones. And then there are total flakes who are utilizing this. This is a really easy industry to take advantage of people. It's a very easy industry.
Right.
And very easy to manipulate, very easy to convince somebody or take money from. It's a very, those I would say are the most difficult aspects for me that I've had to kind of, it's basically what it has done for me is it's just kept me in my integrity. So I watch all the fly-by-nights around me, and it just keeps me more grounded, quite honestly, because I know my truth, I know myself, I know how I'm working, and I just stick to those guidelines.
You know it works.
I know what works. And, it really just comes down to integrity, because you have to answer to yourself anyway, and
Well,
so many are, there's a lot of flashiness out there within this. It can be a very flashy and intoxicating kind of industry. Those aspects are kind of big flags for me. So the more flashy it is, the more concerning a little bit it is for me, because it's taking my focus off of the person and more to the flash. So it's like I want more of the integrity. I want to cement myself into the integrity. And that's what I would just kind of convince people just to look for.
Gotcha. So yeah, I agree with you 100%. Integrity in my industry is way more important than anything else. Like,
Yes.
I remember this one person a long time ago. There's a situation. He goes, tell me you're going to be here at this time. I'm like, I'm not going to be there at that time. He goes, just tell me. I go, do you want me to lie to you and tell you I'm going to be there at that time? He goes, yeah. I go, sorry. That's not going to happen. So
Right. That's a hard way to be.
no, it's the best way to be. It really
yes.
is.
No, it is the best way to be in integrity. It's a hard way to fake integrity,
But there's a lot of people out there doing it in your
Yes.
industry, and I guess in every industry that, integrity is key. I agree with that 1,000%. And like you said, your biggest challenge is if you face them with integrity, you'll end up in a better situation no matter what you do.
Absolutely. But when you're dealing with money and mind or soul,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would say integrity ranks.
I used to think of performance like I would watch, mediums that would talk to the other side and tell these people their lives, and tell them what's happened, going on, and going to happen. And I would just look at the ones that would be that the people would felt like their life was changed after. I call it performance. There's people that would.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say performance. So
Yes.
if someone had a reading with you and that you changed their lives, that would be a performance indicator. And that's what we do in our industry too. Performance indicators.
Okay.
But you're saying it's not indicator, it's integrity, which I agree with also.
It is integrity, but you do want performance. You do want your accuracy to hit. You do want, because let's face it, if my accuracy doesn't hit, I'm questioning myself too.
Well, there's everything to do. You don't have to do what you're not good at. I like doing what I'm good at. And
Right.
Everybody goes, you're successful. I'm like, I'm only good at 5 things.
But you've learned what you're good at, and that's that's the piece is doing what you're good at.
Stay in your lane. That's what we teach people.
Staying in your lane, absolutely, absolutely.
And you got a very cool lane to be in. It's something not a lot of people are in. It's super cool to watch. When you guys do your magic, it blows my mind.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's not for everyone. There's a lot of people out there that aren't quite open to it, because the one thing that is interesting to me is how it's looked at, because you have a lot of people not in their integrity, that the Christian element can look at it as a demonic aspect, and that's a whole nother can of worms that we that's a whole
that is a can of worms. They have great points too. I'm a Christian too, and they have great points too.
Oh, I don't discount it. But you have to keep an open mind.
I'm back to now. I turn that into performance. So
yes,
discernment you're talking about. It's spoken very easily in the Bible. Is the outcome good or bad from the information you're getting?
Yes.
Demons can't do good. Angels can't do bad.
That's
so
true.
who you're listening to,
right.
And I really think a lot of people have a hard time with the discernment, and I get why I get why the Christians are hammering on that, but they also have the same book that says, God does good and demons do bad. So performance is really the key in that.
I love that. Thanks, Mike. I really like that.
I've battled with Christians all my life, it blows my mind. Do we read the same book? Do we read the same book?
Right? I
Do
know.
we read they're out? I see these street preachers just criticizing everybody. You're going to hell,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah. I'm just like,
Right, right. It has to be their way or no way. And it's like, no, there's so many ways to get there.
and I stopped and talked to them. They don't like talking to me. And
No.
he stopped and he goes, "What do you think about what we're doing?" I understand what you're trying to do. You preach the good word, but did you just go around telling everybody they're going to hell? And then they just turn around and walk away. And I'm like,
Right.
all right, just asking questions.
Yeah, right. Give them something to think about.
It, like I said, I don't think we read the same book.
No,
Just,
perception is an interesting beast. It really
it
is.
is.
It really is, because you can read the same sentence and have completely 180 different degree of perception. And, and that really is the key to so much perception.
Right. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Sounds like things are going well for you in your business. Looking forward to the future, wondering what you do, everybody tries to make money. What's your secret sauce for creating passive income in your later years?
I'm looking into that right now to create more passive income. I have some online courses that that I'm creating for digital downloads to create, help people to develop their own intuition on their own pace. Because I think the more intuitive the world is, the more tapped in they are, and the better it can be individually as well as collectively. So for me right now, I'm putting my energy outward for others. I do still do the consults. I'm doing my retreats. I'm doing my podcast. I have my book, but for me, I'm focusing on putting the information out there to others for them to learn how to increase their own intuitive awareness, basically to improve their lives and to be more aware.
Mm-hmm. And I'm on your page. I get it. And I probably need a little bit of help in that too. No, I really do. It's I feel it. I don't feel it a lot, but when messages come or feelings come, like I don't want to get into this one because I've talked about it before, but I'm a world champion in brick breaking. And yeah, and I was the intuition, you're gonna love this one. Like I said, I can't quantify it. I'm gonna do it real brief. I was at a Arnold Schwarzenegger Sports Festival, and I'd never broken a 2-inch brick before, a block. And then I set up 8 of them, right?
Wow.
I set up 8 2-inch blocks. And my belief on the other side is, there's a God, and he told me to do this. Put the 9th one on. And I'm like, I've never broken a 2-inch brick before. And I put up 8 thinking that's way stretching my abilities.
Right.
And I hear, put the 9th one on. And I just shake my head and go, I go, really? Really? I go, 8's not enough for you. 8's not enough. No argument, no disagreement, no chastising. Put the 9th one on. And I'm like, what does it matter? I mean, what's the difference between 8 and 9? 16 inches or 18 inches of cement? I go, excuse me, can I put another block on? They said, yeah, you got another 30 seconds. You get time to set up your blocks. I put the 9th one on. I did my event, broke, and then I won. Long story short, I won first place, and that got me qualified to go to the U.S. Open. So
wow,
yeah.
Congratulations!
So
That's
listening to
astounding.
that voice, I can guarantee you 1,000% it works.
Yes, it
but
does.
I can't quantify it. I can't explain it.
It's not, that's the interesting piece, is that we're starting to merge science with this. However, to quantify it on a resonance in measurement, we're still not there yet, but it can be felt. And that energetic feel is something that changes things. And you can feel it when you walk into a room of people. You can feel it, you can feel energy dependent upon what the situation is. So why couldn't we read it? Why couldn't we be able to tap into this frequency and read the energy, right?
We can't yet. There's no
well,
gauge.
I'll teach you how.
You'll teach you how. Let's do that. I'm in on that. All right. wrapping up the interview, what do you got exciting coming up for the next 6 to 12 months? I think you started hinting on it in the online courses.
6 to 12 months in work, I am focusing on my creative areas of downloads and classes. I have an online Zoom class that's scheduled for June, and that's a 4-week class. In 4 weeks, you'll be able to be a much more intuitive person. There's that course, and there's also the automatic downloads. So I'm focusing a lot upon that and bringing some really great subject matter to the podcasts for my audience in, quantum physics, spirituality, out of the box thinking, some great pioneer thinkers. And that's where I'm focused. And I may be moving back to my grandson. So those in the next 6 months, those are my 3 focuses.
So where's your grandson?
He's 3 hours across the state. So I'm on the west coast of Florida, and he and my other children are all on the east coast of Florida. So I'm looking to move back to the east coast of Florida.
I gotcha. Yeah, I can guarantee you that it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yes, it's there's these are what life is made about, is the family and the love.
Exactly. I'm very driven on business and multifamily and stuff like that, but I don't want to forget the reason I'm driven.
Yes,
everybody forgets the reason of what they do,
right.
Why they do what they do.
That's right.
Hey, listen, Lisa, thanks again for the interview. We really appreciate it. You really knocked it out of the park. I'd like to give you this opportunity to take your time to tell everybody how they get in touch with you and what courses and how they can work with you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having me, Mike. I really appreciate the opportunity. You can reach me directly at my email at info@lisamzimmer.com. My website is currently undergoing a new renovation, and you'll be able to do everything on that. You'll be able to schedule, you'll be able to buy my book, you'll be able to see my podcast. Everything's going to be on my website, and my website's my name, lisamzimmer.com, because I had to put the M in there because someone else took my whole name. So we've got lisamzimmer.com. You can reach me directly, and you can find everything very soon. Probably within the next 48 hours, it'll all be done.
Awesome sauce. Listen, thank you very much for being on. We do appreciate it. And if you guys want to contact her, I can guarantee you this stuff works, but I can't quantify it. She's going to have to show you how to do it.
I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you so much for having me. God bless.
Thanks very much. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Driven, the Unscripted Success Podcast. Want to share your story? Apply to be a guest at drivensuccesspodcast.com/guest.